Oh, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the Neureal March 24th community live stream. My name's Kyler. I am the community manager for the Neureal project, and I'm joined by a lot of very interesting people here today. I think we'll go right down the line. Will, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Will Bound. I'm founder of the Neureal project, one of the founders.
Fantastic. Ethan?
I'm Ethan, and I'm an advisor to the project, and I didn't want to feel left out, so I've been letting my scruffiness grow. I just wanted to feel like I was one of you, all of you guys here.
Welcome to the Beard Club. All right. Preston, have at it, buddy.
Preston, the assistant community manager, and yeah, I just kind of help things keep on track on social media and stuff like that. So yeah, happy to be here.
Fantastic, and you've been doing a good job. We're gonna hopefully be joined by Jen just a little bit later, but I'm not gonna hold her to that. Looks like Preston left the meeting. Oh well, guys, there is a ton of new stuff to be able to go over for this week. First of all, we are still waiting on a couple of things to get done, but we are this close for both the Foundation, KYC, and from what I understand from Will, we're also incredibly close on the coding of the token. Correct, Will? Yes? No? No?
No.
All right, I guess I misunderstood that conversation we had in the office.
It depends on which token you're talking about.
Yeah, that makes good sense. So you're probably talking about the airdrop token. And that brings up my next point. We are incredibly close to being ready to go on the bounty program, folks. I'm joining you tonight from an incredibly cool location that we'll talk about just a little bit later. And as most of you know, Ethan and I just spent the last almost a week, actually a little bit more than a week in Puerto Rico, representing the Neureal project for both Blockchain Unbound, like the last night of D10E, and mostly Coin Agenda. And that was absolutely fantastic. Expect a bunch of other updates to come from there. Will, do you have any updates to add to that?
Not really. Other than what you just said, like we're getting really close to having the minimum and starting up the countdown on the website. So that'll be when we get the countdown started on the website. That means that we'll be committed to the date that we have there. Otherwise, until that happens, we're not. We don't have our minimum stuff in place to do that. So we don't know exactly when. If we're going to make our deadline or not.
Totally correct. Just as a reminder to everybody in the community, those dates we currently have up are target dates, meaning that those are what we are trying to make happen. We're still on line to make those happen. If we start figuring out that those aren't going to work, we're going to be very open and honest and communicate right with the community about that and let you guys know what our plans are moving forward. However, as it stands, just plan on it being done on that date. Ethan, do you want to take a minute and give us I suppose Puerto Rico is probably going to be a huge part of everything that we're talking about. I'd like you to go first, though, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'd love to. Do you have anything in your evening spiel today about our what excited people that we talked to at Puerto Rico? Is that kind of your thing? 'Cause I don't want to steal your thunder, but I'll do this one thing and make because as an advisor focused on tokenomics and trying to figure out what we can do as a project, I've had my rare opportunities to add input as to what we can do to seek further value for the project and be effective out in the world. One of those things was I definitely did want us to go to Coin Agenda and to talk to people, and I thought it was really important that we did so, and that proved interesting to me specifically because when we talked about our tokenomics and the terms of our token generation event, people got really excited about that because that was when we got to talk about accountability and also how we have accountability programmed into all of this, right? So the notion that we get to offer a token generation event to the public that the public can then, hold us accountable for. They can say, well, if you're not meeting your goals, if you're not communicating openly, if you're not being integral, then there is a threat there of the community, the token holders, essentially saying, hey, look, you're not living up to our standards, and we don't think that you deserve funding. Yada, yada, yada. So I don't know if that was part of your spiel, but that's something I saw that when we talk to people at Coin Agenda, when we talk to people at all the conventions, wandering in between hotels and walking up and down the street with people, is chatting. And that's one of the cool things about these conventions, by the way, is it turns the entirety of the area you're in into a blockchain geek kind of gaggle, and you run into people everywhere, right? So you're seeing somebody wearing an EOS shirt or a Satoshi is cometh or whatever shirt, and it's great. You're just gonna bump into these people, say, hey, hi. But yeah, when we were talking about token accountability, that's what really lit people on fire, and they said, oh my gosh, why aren't more people doing it? And we all know the answer to that, right? We know why more people aren't doing it, but this was something that really excited people. I thought that was one of the best selling points we had at the Coin Agenda convention and in Puerto Rico in general. People just loved that idea that, yes, there is a project that's going to be accountable to its token holders. So, yay.
And I actually want to back that up a little bit, because we had some really interesting experiences, especially at Blockchain Unbound. Blockchain Unbound seemed to be a lot more for kind of your traditional CEO type, for non-blockchain businesses who were there kind of exploring what they could do. And there were a lot of like traditional angel and VC people there trying to figure out how they were going to dip their toes in the water and figure out what they're going to do. And when they heard the accountability protocol being talked about, I actually had several of them turn to me and say, that's a better deal than we get as a VC. That's a better deal than we get as an angel. Because if we invest in a startup company and things start going off the rails, that money's just gone. Like it's just gone. There's nothing anybody can do in order to make that happen. Looks like we have a small tour coming through. Yeah, I'm at a live brewery right now that's actually in production, and this is their wonderful, beautiful aging room. And they've allowed me to use it for the time being because I can't help myself. I'm being in a space where wonderful ideas come to sit and ferment, and it seems kind of thematically appropriate. The other thing people were really impressed about was the maximum distribution protocol. I had a ton of people being very excited, specifically token projects that were Coin Agenda, that have kind of said, hey, if you're going to do proof of stake, this seems to be the only way to do it because it ensures the maximum, most fair distribution. Now, I'm going to be, who else can I turn it over to? Preston, can you give us about 5 minutes about how things have been going in the community while I've been gone?
Yeah, things have been going well. We hit, 450 in our Neureal Telegram chat. That was pretty big. And got a lot of good feedback about what we're doing, and having some good conversations with people. And I try and keep everybody up to date with what's happening in the AI and blockchain space with the latest and greatest articles. And if you have anything or any questions, feel free to put them in the Telegram chat. But as far as things here in the community, I think we're on the right track. We're getting a lot of good feedback.
Fantastic. Hey, since I've got people in here kind of talking, Ethan, do you want to go a little further into anything else that you wanted to go over about Blockchain Unbound or Coin Agenda?
Well, Coin Agenda was my favorite, and yeah, I understand. You got people behind you. They're probably enjoying that brewery more than you are at the moment. But for me, it was when we were talking about maximum distribution protocol, people totally did get that. And that's something, by the way, I think we should point out, is that when we were wandering in between all of the other projects that were there, and there are a lot of token projects now, lots of token projects that address all kinds of different markets, and it's absolutely mind-boggling. Some projects, if you're experienced in tokenomics and you start to understand why blockchains work the way they do, some of these things don't make a lot of sense. There are some really great projects there, but one of the things that was really cool about when we got to mingle with people, mingle with VCs and marketers and project founders and this and that, one thing that was, or nearly so, was just this excitement when we explained how Neureal was different than other AI projects, what Neureal was as a platform, what it enabled. It was really neat. Even, by the way, this is kind of funny, and as a personal feather in my cap, I got interviewed by Max Kaiser. Now, this is a funny thing, though. Unfortunately, he had his mic muted throughout the entire little interview. So, but Max was he approached me and he was kind of like, I'm just doing stuff at Coin Agenda on my Periscope, and here I'm going to shove a mic in your face, and I'm going to basically just see if I can get anything funny out of you. And initially, that's how it started. And even Max Kaiser is totally like Bitcoin, 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 and you can't blame him for that. He was, after we sat down, he started sort of understanding what it was and what the project was. And even Max Kaiser, a media personality, not somebody necessarily a blockchain expert, he was really into this idea, like, this is a really cool use case for blockchain tech. This is really interesting. And he actually started to get genuinely interested. And that was an experience that I saw across the board at Coin Agenda and the other places we went to, is just a constant sort of, wow, this is neat. It's not like it's not like the blockchain tech program where, I don't know, somebody's trying to ship kittens or something, right? Like using, like it's actually something that people could kind of clue into and become excited about. That was really fun when we went to Coin Agenda and the other conventions that were there. When we mingled with people to see that reaction, that was really tangible and palpable. So I'm really happy about that.
Absolutely. Right. The tour's gone by here, so... Uh-oh, I'm getting an echo off of somebody. Oh, Ethan! Anyhow, so the tour's gone by. I get a second to talk, I guess. But I agree with Ethan. It was actually... I don't know if you guys can hear it because my microphone's not very high quality, but my voice is wrecked. Like bad, because I would pitch anybody who would stand still for 5 seconds. And generally that can get annoying, but what was really interesting to me is that I would pitch these people, and I'm used to sales where I have to really work hard to get their attention the day after, because you get them kind of excited, and then you have to make sure you follow up in certain procedural orders in order to make sure that they maintain that excitement. I would pitch somebody, they'd get me their card, we'd kind of hook up a little bit, and then the next day would come by, and at breakfast or at lunch, there would be a crowd of people lining up to come talk to me, to be like, hey, let's make sure that I have your Telegram and I have your phone number. Why don't you email me? I just want to make sure that you don't get lost in the crowd, because what you guys are doing is really special, and I want to be a part of it. And it was amazing how many people really are, the real hard part to get across is that the people there really understand blockchain, but almost none of them understood AI. We had a couple of really decent AI guys there, especially machine learning guys, who really grasped onto it really quick. And you might be seeing a couple of them around the community here pretty soon. But it was really amazing, the amount of just incredible positive feedback we've got. I've actually got 2 separate projects that have contacted me since I got home to let me know that they actually changed up their entire token distribution model and their entire tokenomics model in order to more closely match what Neureal's doing, because they feel like it's one of the only responsible things to do in the space. I've had a VC fund that I ended up making friends with the guy that was in charge of it. Now, they're not ready to dip their feet into their toe into the blockchain space just yet, but he did say that he sees in the very near future, even VCs and angels demanding essentially the same sort of accountability that we have here. But the funny thing is that without blockchain, there's not really a way to do that. So that might be a very interesting way to start getting into those traditional money pools and bringing that traditional money onto the blockchain space. The other really interesting thing is there was just a huge, and I know this isn't Neureal specific, actually, let me go into one of the Neureal specific things. You guys probably didn't get this because we only tweeted a single photo about it. But I was also down there on a little bit of a humanitarian thing. I've got a podcast. I won't plug it here, but I talk about how communities can help other communities in a more direct manner. And I had an interview set up with a group of people that received a lot of solar equipment. And that interview ended up being set up in a co-working space called Engine 4. And Engine 4 is probably one of the most, as cool as the rest of the conference was, Engine 4 ended up being probably one of my favorite things from the whole trip, because you had a whole ton of locals who were in a fairly large co-working space that I've been to co-working spaces all over the country. I've never seen a co-working space that was prettier than this or that I'd rather be in. They were almost entirely full. except for their hot desk area. Their hot desk area has room for like 300 people, but they have a full Internet of Things workshop down there, and the guy who runs that Internet of Things workshop used to build meteorological equipment, which, if we're talking about the specific applications that Neureal is looking to get IoT devices for in the near future, MVP number 2 is hurricane prediction in the Caribbean. And can I tell you a really specific story? Because a lot of people have asked this. Well, how would hurricane prediction actually help the people down there? It's not like they can get out of the way. Don't mean to make fun of you, but like, here's a really good example. Engine 4 had some really technical people, or has some really technical people that work and live and play there. And they have mostly microwave transmitters in order to do internet there on the island. But if you know much about those microwave transmitters, it's a highly technical thing to do anything to those transmitters at all. They were given kind of just barely enough warning that the storm was coming, that they were able to climb up on their own roof and uninstall their own micro transmitter and bring it down into the building and then reinstall it after the storm passed. But one of the things they were saying is that if they had better predictions and we would have known exactly where it was going, they could have actually went and did that to hospitals in the area. They could have walked people through how to do it themselves. And instead of the entire island being a blackout and no communication, you would have had more than a single pocket on the entire island that had internet. In fact, FEMA ended up having to set up outside of this co-working space. This is where all their trucks were for the first week and a half, because it was the only space on the island that had internet. Had they had better predictions, that's just one tiny example of the things that could have been prepared and would have made everyone's lives there 1,000 times better. It was just striking, the number of people who were interested in the hurricane prediction models once we were down there. And it does very much feel like the sort of first world thing where we ask, like, for instance, the question in blockchain has always been like, why would I want to be my own bank when I have a perfectly good bank down the street that'll do that? But the fact is, I think it's 87% of the world is unbanked. It's the same thing here. Like, why do you get decent weather predictions where you're at? Sure, they're probably decent. Would it affect people who are more subject to severe weather in a very positive way to have the ability to know what's coming? Yeah, I can absolutely say for sure now that it would. And I've actually got locals telling me exactly how much it would help them. Go ahead, Ethan.
I definitely want to. This is not AI specific, but I think it plays exactly what you're talking about. It's very casually. Yeah, we could have a property titles system on the blockchain, and I swear to you, about 80 or 90 people at that meetup, mouths dropped, jaws hit the floor. People went, "Really? This could actually happen?" Because here, we might take it for granted in the first world, but in a lot of places, that's a common problem that people in the first world don't really experience. And this extends to a lot of different blockchain tech applications that people tend to really just kind of underestimate, because we exist in systems that are generally very privileged, very sort of convenient, well-built, comparably efficient. So these sorts of things, when we're talking about the predictive quality of AI and how it could help people, we're looking very much at those developing places in the world, those regions where people really need things that we might take for granted. And there's so many people, so many applications. I'm telling you, this is something to really step back, take a breath about, and consider more fully. And by the way, I just saw that Jen is with us now. Yay!
That's right. Everybody say hi, Jen.
Hello, applause and exclamation points happening in the community chat as well. We are those were kind of my big ones. Is there anything I missed?
No,
He's kind of back.
Yeah, and I apologize to anybody watching.
We get pieces of him.
See,
oh yes,
it was fine
faces,
until the live band decided to walk between me and the Wi-Fi router, and now it's going to be kind of weird.
Excellent. Well, yeah. I mean, yay for live bands. I mean, I think live bands are fantastic, and that's a bummer about the Wi-Fi connection.
Well, let me see if I can get across.
Too bad. You can't win them all, I guess.
Yeah, let me see if I can get across the other two things that I definitely wanted to make sure the community was aware of. The first is we are going to have another small small sale that will be available to people. I'll give you more information about that here coming very soon. We want to make sure that we have the KYC in place before we actually say, hey guys, go buy. Go make some purchases. But just if you had wanted a way to purchase some more Neureal tokens and you'd been kicking yourself for not doing so earlier, we might have a way. So make sure that you stay in contact and that you're watching the live stream. The second thing would be that I'd like to throw a little bit of a get-together while I'm here. Oh, you guys not hear me? This is bad.
We've heard that you want to throw a bit of a get-together. I caught that part.
Yeah, so essentially, Shades of Pale Brewery has very kindly offered to somewhat host anybody in the Salt Lake area that wants to come hang out with the Neureal team for a little while. I'm thinking Tuesday night. I'll actually make this announcement in the chat itself. But guys, we're getting super close. We're getting down to the wire on our entire event. And if we have a really strong base of support, it's probably Salt Lake City. So it would be really nice to see you all out there.
Okay, so there is a meetup that Kyler wants to put together. He would love to see some people in the, is it the Salt Lake City area you said?
It is. It's the Salt Lake City area at Shades of Pale Brewery. Kyler, have you decided what time? Maybe we can get that to squeak in between the really lousy Wi-Fi. Nope.
Let's say 8 p.m.
Wait.
8 p.m.
I got the PM. All right, 8 p.m.
8
p.m. Shades of Pale Brewery, which is downtown Salt Lake City on Utopia Avenue. Tuesday, I don't know what day of the month that is, at 8 p.m. And we can all come hang out, meet everybody in person. And I don't, does anyone have a calendar handy? I don't know.
I will post the entire information for this as soon as the stream is over.
Yay.
But it's the 27th. If you can hear me, it's the 27th.
Okay, so
Tuesday the 27th, okay. Yes. Tuesday the 27th, 8 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time.
Awesome. Hey, I don't know what Kyler had going next, or Jen, do you have anything else? That was it for you, right?
I don't. I just had those kind of little mini updates. That was all I had for tonight. That's, I mean, really kind of where Will and I have put our focus is on these big, gigantic things. You know, a lot of really great potential strategic partnerships came out of Costa Rica. You guys probably talked about that before I got on. We're trying to really flush those out a little bit and talk through those, find out if there are good fits and what that looks like. And so we're hoping to be able to announce some of those as we get a little more crystal clear on what those could look like and how those could benefit both Neureal and obviously the other projects. I mean, we think Neureal can benefit just about every project, but there's also always a little bit of finessing to work out, and so we'll get to share those as the agreements are finalized and we can put those in place. So I really didn't have a bunch to share today. So, and it sounds like the live band is totally kicking up there for Kyler. So I don't know, should we call that a wrap tonight?
Well, before we do, and actually I think before we do call that a wrap, I just want to echo something you just said, Jen, because that was when we were. I wish we were in Costa Rica. We were in Puerto Rico, but actually I don't know.
Yes, thank you. Sorry. Maybe I was in Costa Rica while you guys were in Puerto Rico.
Oh well.
Yes, sorry. Sorry, Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I wanted to echo this because in Puerto Rico, and it's funny, Kyler mentioned Engine 4, which is something totally kind of off to the side, but it was just fantastic. Like, the people there were amazing. And by the way, if anybody ever does go to Engine 4 co-working space in Puerto Rico, you have to go to the coffee shop that's attached to it. Excellent. And ask them what's under the counter. That's all I'm going to say. So the other thing, though, is just all of the connections we made, the people we talked to. And like I said before, right, they all had the kind of light in their eyes. And Kyler talked about how they came back to us after, talking initially and going, hey, hold on a minute, we need to make sure that we keep the tenuous ties of reality. It was absolutely amazing in Puerto Rico. I can't stress this enough. The quality people that we got to talk to, the quality people that we got to be interested in this project. It's, for me, I don't know if others feel like this, but for me, it was kind of like a watershed moment for Neureal. I think just the fact that we were able to speak to such high quality people all weekend, all week, and the fact that so many of them deeply appreciated what we're all doing. This is something I can't stress this enough. I don't shill for projects. I don't go off talking about my next favorite coin, and I don't have a YouTube channel talking about what I'm going to pump in the weekend. This is something that I think is deeply impactful, and a lot of people who I respect a great deal and who have great track records in this space recognize the same thing I think I recognize in this. A deeply impactful project that will potentially change the world. I think there's a very, very strong chance of that here.
Thanks for adding that, Ethan, and it's a really good point. And that was one of the big reasons why we really wanted Kyler to go down to Puerto Rico, was because we knew that the people that he would be able to interact with and be able to share this project with on the intimate way that Kyler gets to communicate with people, we knew would be profoundly impactful. And obviously we all believe in the power of this project, and the one piece that we've been missing for so long is our ability to share it with enough people that the project really gets its legs and takes us into the next phase. And so thank you for sharing that and being able to really lend voice to who you guys really had a chance to get in front of. I know, as Kyler and I have talked about it over this week while he's been in Salt Lake City, I mean, he's talked about the size of the cards he brought back, but really it is the caliber of those people, and what that means for Neureal going forward is really phenomenal, because those will be strategic partnerships that are going to be able to really elevate this project to a whole new level. And it's because Ethan and Kyler were down there, and because you guys are able to articulate it in such a brilliant way that, that also I think speaks a lot to who the two of you are, and that you can speak to this project with that caliber of people and get them engaged. So we deeply appreciate you going and coming back with such profound treasures. So thank you.
Aw, can anyone hear me? Is it any better now?
I'll second that one.
Yeah, hey, Will, can you answer that question that you got from Ed? That would be
Oh, it was close. Yes. Oh my gosh. Maybe we can hear you. Yes, go.
Hey, so I just want to answer a question that we got from Ed. Hopefully it actually lasts this time. Ed wants to ask, is it too late to get into the alpha sale tokens? It is. It is too late to get the alpha sale tokens, but we're going to have another opportunity here very, very soon. I can't say too much about it because, again, we don't want to get you all excited and then say, hey, set you loose to go wait. But as soon as we get the KYC figured out, then we can actually get you in on that. And another thing that I feel bad about, and somebody please poke me, can you hear me? Or no?
We can hear you. Woo! Yes, we can hear you. Thumbs up from Ethan, yes.
Perfect. So.
And Will, you got all the thumbs up.
So I actually didn't get to mention this, guys. We hadn't even gone into strategic partnerships yet. There are an absolute ton of projects that either need predictions or are going to have an unbelievable wealth of either IoT or social media live streaming data that they need to find a way to monetize in order to make it worthwhile to their community.
Oh, that's so.
I'm going to do another video tomorrow. I will do another video tomorrow, and I'm just going to talk to you guys, the community, about what I saw down there. Okay?
He's getting all the right words in. I mean, at least he's getting all the right words in.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
Did everybody else catch unbelievable wealth? I thought that was great.
Yeah, that was great. Pretty much, we're going to do another
connection here at the Neureal office. You should try that.
We'll answer these questions tomorrow. We'll do another video for you.
And it will not be at the Shades of Pale tasting room or storing room. I don't know.